Hi, Simon Chapple here from Be Sober. I'm the quit alcohol coach and I'm here to help you smash sobriety. So, today I wanted to talk about what to do if you have a husband or a partner who's an alcoholic or heavy drinker and you feel that their drinking's got out of control. So, my tips with this, I was a former heavy drinker, as you may know, for over 20 years. I drank every day, one or two bottles of red wine. I was drinking beer, spirits, you name it. And do you know what? My wife didn't really do a great deal. She kind of accepted my behaviour and went with it. And I guess we drank together quite a bit. But nobody ever stopped and said, Simon, I think you've got a problem with your drinking. You need to take stock. You need to think about your behaviour. It just carried on and on and on. And I actually wish that somebody had stopped me at some point and said to me that, you've got a problem. You need to do something about this. But they didn't, and I ended up in a place where for probably 5 years at the end, I knew I had a problem. I didn't know what the hell to do about it, and I ended up having to work it out for myself. Now, if you've got a partner, that's probably not the right thing to do. If they're a heavy drinker, alcoholic, daily drinker, binge drinker, then the first thing I want you to do is put yourself first in this. Do not blame yourself. It's not you. You haven't done anything wrong. So don't blame yourself. You're far better to take a kind of top down view, almost step outside of the bubble, try and detach yourself from emotion. And I know that's easy to say. There's a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel here. Do subscribe because then you're not going to miss any. We have new videos every week. And there's a bunch of videos that deal with handling emotions, being able to get mindful about things rather than reacting. So I don't want you to blame yourself. It's so important. The best way that you can help your partner is by not blaming yourself, because when you do that, it can lead to resentment, it can lead to negative emotions coming up, and that's just going to add fuel on the fire of the situation. Now, I know this can have a massive impact on your life. It can affect your social life because you end up becoming withdrawn potentially, not wanting to go out because of your partner's drinking. And it can also impact on your partner's work. It can impact on your work if you're up late at night dealing with your partner. It can affect your kids. The ripples that go out from it are endless. And we want to resolve that. You as the partner, you love this person, you don't want it impacting your life anymore. So you strongly want to make a change. You feel like you want to just shake them and tell them to stop, but that's not going to do any good either. So these are my tips. This is what I wish somebody had done to me and sorted me out. So the first thing is something called enabling. Now, when you enable somebody, you are effectively reinforcing their behaviour in a kind of positive way. So what you don't want to do is enable them. And enabling would be things like drinking with them, covering for their drinking issues that have come up. So for example, let's say they went out drinking, they had a hangover, they couldn't go into work. If you then cover for them or phone into work for them or help them out, make excuses, that type of thing, you're just enabling the behaviour, you're allowing it, you're making it okay. So anything that's making the behaviour okay effectively encourages and reinforces that behaviour. And there can be a whole bunch of things that you can do with that. The big one for me is joining in with the drinking. Actually, particularly if your partner drinks at home, it can be easy to slip into that habit. And of course, you're going through a lot. If you're watching this video and your partner's drinking, you probably feel like a drink because you're having a tough time. It is not going to help you. So you don't need that in your life. You're going to be able to deal with this so much better if you're clear-headed, rational, and you haven't got the fog of alcohol involved. So, and hopefully, the fact you're on my channel, which is a sober coaching channel and a quit drinking channel, tells me that perhaps you don't actually drink and you want to make a change for somebody else in your life so they can be just like you, hopefully. But if you do drink, it's not a problem, but I would not do it around them. And hopefully you drink in a way that's mindfully. I'm not going to judge here. So don't enable, don't make excuses, don't ignore the problem. And definitely try not to join in with the drinking, because that's going to cause you problems as well. Effectively, what you want them to do is have to deal with the consequences of their actions themselves, so they have to face up to it. Don't hide it for them. Don't allow them to just, get it all covered up, get it all dealt with. The second thing, that if you're really serious about dealing with this, you are going to need to put a little bit of work into it, but believe me, it will be worth it. So the next thing I would urge you to do is to educate yourself. Now, when I quit drinking, that's exactly what I did. I educated myself about all the benefits of an alcohol-free life. I read just about every sober book I could get my hands on. There's another video on the channel here with all the best sober books and all the books that helped me quit drinking. I've reviewed them all, so check that out. I would be reading a couple of sober books. I've got my book, which is right here. And I've just dropped a massive pile of books, but that's my book, The Sober Survival Guide. So that's a great place to start if you want to educate yourself. But education is so important. And I would also be reading blogs, almost approach it like you were the person who wanted to quit drinking. So you're broadening your knowledge and educating yourself and learning all about the tactics, techniques that you need to quit alcohol. I'd also recommend joining some quit drinking Facebook groups, and I run the Be Sober Facebook group. We've got over 10,000 members in our group now, which is just unbelievable. An amazing community, and there's a lot of people in there who are seeking support for somebody else, and you can connect with people on the same journey. You can ask questions in a place that's completely safe and private. None of your friends on Facebook are going to see it. It's completely private and secure. So that's a great idea as well. And then podcasts. Some of the quit alcohol podcasts are amazing. This Naked Mind is my favourite podcast. Love Sober is an awesome podcast. I've been lucky enough to appear on both of those. So listen to podcasts, read books, maybe join a couple of sober Facebook groups and start kind of soaking it all up like a sponge. Now at this point, I wouldn't have even told my partner that I was doing that. You're putting in the groundwork right now, and you're learning, you're educating yourself. Then when you feel ready, there's a couple of ways you can come at this. When I coach people to quit drinking, I get them to journal every day up to the time they quit and after they quit, so they can note down their feelings, their emotions, everything that's going on, and then they can see all the positive and wonderful, powerful changes that happen in their lives as they recover from alcohol addiction. You may want to keep a journal of certain things you see around your partner's behaviour, your own feelings, things that were difficult for you to deal with. Journal them all down, because you're probably going to want to come back to some of this stuff. Now, we are not going to throw things back in our partner's face. It's the worst thing you can do. We're not going to preach to our partner. We're not going to tell our partner what to do. Do you remember the last time somebody told you to do something? What's your immediate reaction? I'm not doing it. So we need to approach it in a different way. You need to be their support. You need to be their rock. And you need to show that you're there for them. You're looking out for their best interests. One of the toughest challenges when it comes to quitting drinking is somebody who doesn't really want to quit. When you are motivated and hungry for a sober life, it's a lot easier than somebody telling you to quit. So effectively, you've got to sell them this lifestyle to a degree. You've got to show them all of the things that they are putting alcohol ahead of in their lives. It might be the kids, it might be your marriage, it might be their career, it might be their health, it could be all of them. It was for me. So what I would want you to do next is prepare for a very calm and grown-up conversation with them. And that conversation, it is absolutely essential that you are not going to preach, and that you are going to more come across in a way where you say, look, I wanted to talk to you about your drinking. This is how I would do it. I wanted to talk to you about your drinking. It's worrying me. I love you so much, and I don't want to see you become harmed by your drinking. I'm worried that alcohol is something that you're putting in front of your family, your health, your career, our marriage. And I'm really worried about us. And I would actually say, please don't think I'm preaching. I'm not telling you what to do. I just wanted to highlight some of the things that have come up for me that I've noticed. And then I wanted to talk, as friends, as soulmates, about what we can do to improve our lives, because I don't want alcohol to be the top of your priorities any longer. What can we do about that? So then, you've asked an open question. Now, bear in mind, you've educated yourself about this and you've got a good understanding. So by the time you got to a place where you had that conversation, you would be really, really well prepared for it. And I'd be happy to give you some tips. Just reach out to me if you want some help in preparing for that conversation. That was just the opening bit. There's a lot more you can say. And then what we would want to get into in that conversation is to a point where you are talking about the benefits of an alcohol-free life and how you've maybe been looking into it and reading up on it and Googling it and reading some blogs or listening to some podcasts, and you discovered that actually when you quit drinking, your anxiety improves, your happiness levels go up. There's a survey on my blog we did of over 500 members of my group. Mental health improvements, all the people who answered, the average was over 70% improvement to mental health, happiness, motivation, positivity, skin, sleep. It's unbelievable. So you could actually talk to your partner about some of the areas that are being affected and point out that actually, if you weren't drinking, you'll probably find that these things are going to dramatically improve. And sure, it's going to be tough at the beginning, and we're going to put a plan together to go through that. But you're going to see some huge gains and huge benefits. And do you know what? As your partner, I'm going to support you. I'm going to hold your hand through this, because if it's something you want, it's something I want too. But you've got to not preach to them. And I know you said you about selling it to them, but we don't want to be like a pushy car salesman. We just want to be gentle, kind, loving. And the most important thing, as I say, is look after yourself as well. Put yourself first and think about your own needs as well, because that is the most important thing. And I forgot to mention right at the start, if you are in any danger of abuse, either verbal, mental, physical abuse, or your kids are in any danger, then absolutely, you need to think about your own plan, whether you should be in that relationship any longer. If you're in harm, reach out to parents, close friends, anyone you need to speak to in terms of that. But I'm hoping that that's not the case. You're totally on side. You just want to help your partner, your husband, your wife quit. So we're going to have this conversation. You're talking to them. It's a real grown-up, non-preachy. You're not judging them for their behaviour, and you actually say those things to reinforce that that's not what you're doing. You're simply being very factual. You're just talking about the facts, and you're sharing with them some of the things you've learned about the power and benefits of an alcohol-free lifestyle. As you talk, you might want to say to them, actually, I read this book. It's been worrying me this much. I read this book, and I recommend you take a look at it because it's awesome. Or whatever you've done in terms of your own education, you could share with them the things that you found that you thought would be really, really helpful. Important, again, that you're not telling them what to do. It's something you may want to recommend. It's funny because I do it with my wife all the time. She was suffering with a little bit of stress recently. Work had got on top of her. And of course, me being an alcohol coach and sharing tactics for dealing with things like that, straight away I was saying to her, get on this meditation app, do this, do that. And I realised that actually all I was doing was kind of pushing her to do stuff, ramming it down her throat. And it's the wrong way of doing it. So we just had a chat, and we got a piece of paper, and I wrote down lots of ideas with her, and she wrote down ideas that would help her de-stress, including going to the gym, going for a walk through the woods, things like that. And we ended up together making a kind of recovery plan, or a stress busting plan. That's a good word. Together, and she put it on her phone, and that's what she does every time she feels stressed. She has her go-to tools, and as your partner gets on board with this, they would end up creating their own tools. But it's important that they feel empowered. It's their decision, not you pushing or forcing something on them. So that initial approach is so important, and I'd recommend doing more research around the best way to approach that, because whilst I can give you some tips, everybody's different, everybody reacts in different ways, and it's so important you get that absolutely right, and that they're seeing that you're coming from a place of love, a place of concern, and a place of wanting to help them without telling them what to do. And then, so now you've had this conversation, you've brought the topic up, you've discussed that you're concerned that alcohol is being put in front of the most important things in their lives, and you would like that to change. Is there a way that we can work together as a couple to work towards that changing? What do you need from me as your partner to make it happen? Talk about what you've learned and what you've found and things that you think may help. For example, the alcoholexperiment.com by Annie Grace, free 30-day program that they can sign into every day. It gives you tasks to complete, it educates you bit by bit over that period. So you might talk to them about, would you be willing to take a 30-day break from alcohol for me as your partner? And we'll do it together. We will journal every day, we'll monitor the changes, and at the end we'll make a decision about how we want alcohol to feature in our lives going forward. So what I'm saying at this point is, as you get towards that third part, the final third of the conversation, is to talk about making a freedom plan, a plan either freedom from alcohol or freedom from all the behaviour and negativity that it's been causing. But my suggestion would be to try and move towards something like doing the alcohol experiment by Annie Grace, and do it with them, do it together, hold their hand through it, and it will walk you through it, and you become your partner's accountability partner, their support sort of shoulder to lean on, someone they can cry on if they need to cry, someone who's there for them. And you set up all the support, you give them all the tools they need, and that's the only thing you should be enabling them with, is the tools and the tactics they need. Now, my YouTube channel has got just about every tool and every tactic. So you might even say to them, look, I found this YouTube channel, Simon Chapple, the Sober Coach. He will give you everything you need, from how to quit drinking to how to deal with all the tough stuff that comes up. You combine that with something like the alcoholexperiment.com, which they become engaged in, get them to join some Facebook sober groups, start reading some books, and they will be well on the way to smashing sobriety. So there's a lot more, really this is all about just getting them on board, having that initial conversation where you are not preaching, you're not judging. I can't emphasize that enough. That's why I've mentioned it 3 times, because that is the key. Because if it comes from the right place and they can see that you're really wanting to help, and that they recognise that yes, they are putting alcohol in front of the most important things in their lives, then it's a no-brainer. Where if somebody recognises, I'm putting alcohol ahead of my kids, and maybe you give some examples. I used to do it. My son I remember, asked me to go to the cinema, asked me to go bowling. I remember a fireworks event at his school one evening, which inconveniently clashed with my drinking time, and I didn't like it. I went, I was in a bad mood because I just wanted to be at home drinking. Same with the bowling and the cinema, didn't like going in the evenings because I just wanted to be home drinking. So if somebody can recognise that, yeah, I am doing that, I realise I do it, and people don't like criticism, so your approach is key. It really is key. But when they realise it and they can acknowledge it, then you can move towards saying, well, look, is that something you would want to change? Do you want to be doing that? Well, of course I don't. No, I don't. Okay, well, let's make a plan. Let's make a freedom plan together. I'll do it with you. I'll hold your hand through this. And that approach, honestly, you'll probably end up hugging at the end of it. And sure, there's bound to be some bumps in the road. There's bound to be setbacks. But there's all the strategies you need for dealing with setbacks and bumps in the road on my YouTube channel. The Alcohol Experiment will set you up. It's free. The Alcohol Experiment is completely free. So is my YouTube channel. So is the Facebook sober group I run. So all this stuff's there, which is why I would want you to educate yourself a little bit before. I don't mean spending weeks educating yourself, but just spend some time doing your research, learning a little bit so that you can come into this knowing what you need to say and knowing a little bit about the best tactics, the best methods for someone who wants to quit drinking. And I suppose that's what you need to do, is make them become someone who wants to quit for the right reasons. And those right reasons are highlighting what they're putting alcohol ahead of in their lives, and maybe making them kind of work through it with you and giving them examples of where alcohol's been put in front of career, marriage, family, children, health, anything else. And then from there going, well, is that something you would want to change? Why don't we work on that as a team? We are a team, we're soulmates, we do everything together. And that approach, that loving kindness approach, is what's going to win this for you. It's what's going to win this battle. Like I say, you can comment below and I will reply to every comment if you need help with this. If you want private help, my email is on the Be Sober website, besober.co.uk. Just drop me a message. I will gladly assist with it because it's something I'm very, very passionate about. I'm not looking for money or anything like that. It's just what I do. My reward in this is seeing people make a lasting change in their lives. I suppose all I would ask you to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel right here. You can do that below, because I don't want you to miss out on the weekly videos and the tactics and tips that we share in terms of quitting drinking, improving your life, and going on a journey of self-development and self-discovery that is going to bring happiness, peace, and so much fun as well on this whole journey. I know it probably doesn't sound like fun if you're watching this video, but believe me, if you can get your partner to a place where they're happy again, you're happy again, you're going to have so much fun. But it is going to take a little bit of work, and I completely acknowledge that, and you need to know that you're going to have to put a little bit of work in as well. But how worth it is it going to be? So, and if you've got success stories, again, message me, because I would love to hear them and I'd love to share them, obviously anonymously or not, if that's what you wanted, on my blog and in my Facebook group as well. So I really hope that gives you some structure in terms of how to initially approach this. Obviously, there's the ongoing as well. Support alcoholexperiment.com is probably what's going to help you through those first 30 days. You have got other professional options, rehab, Alcoholics Anonymous, Facebook sober groups work for me, so that is what I'd recommend. But the key in all of this is making them, your partner, want to make a change. If they want it, they'll get it, they'll desire it, and that's the key. And do that by showing them what they're putting alcohol in front of at the moment in their lives, with the most loving, kind, grown-up conversation you can have, from a place of wanting to help and a place of love. And if you can do that, you're going to absolutely smash this and smash sobriety with your partner and be in a wonderful, wonderful place. So I really, really hope that helps. Like I say, subscribe to the YouTube channel for weekly videos, and I will catch you again very soon.